to get your notes ready, that'd be good.
That's good.
That'd be a good idea.
Uh,
I know. It happens to you every 5 seconds. Yep.
That also true.
Every 2.5 seconds, if we're being generous.
A little too generous.
Alright, so today we're looking at the last lesson in this unit, solving rational equations. So this is gonna put together all that we've done with the adding and subtracting, multiplying and dividing. And there are, like usual, there are several different ways these problems can start off and be set up. So this is the first way, and this one, in my opinion, is the easiest of the ones we'll see. Because when we see something like this, well, if the thing will work. There we go. When we see something like this, come on, marker, I need a white one. I tell you what, things are not cooperating on this Monday morning. Come on. You can do it. There we go. Alright, so the type that I'm dealing with here, the reason this is the easiest kind is we have a whole fraction. I don't know what's happening up there. A whole fraction equal to another whole fraction. And so the easiest thing to do in that case is to just cross multiply and solve. So I would say, come on, there we go. I would distribute a 3 to that, and alrighty. Now it won't work up here probably. I don't want to line.
Do you need more smartboard ink or something?
I need a smartboard brain.
Oh dear.
The smartboard isn't being smart.
No, I'd say
Go ahead and
it's
move
Monday.
that back over while we can.
Smart board says
Well,
It's going on strike.
it's doing something. It's a lovely Monday morning.
You gotta use the actual whiteboard today?
That'll be fun.
you can actually write on the smart board. Like with the rating. With the dry erase.
No.
No?
I mean, there's little markers up there you can use. But don't actually write on it, they're just sticks
I didn't know if they.
with fancy handles.
Oh Lord, send help.
So I would fix it.
Alright, let's see what happens now. This might be bad. So anyway, just to, before something else goes wrong, big fraction equal big fraction, we're gonna cross multiply. So we're gonna distribute a 3 to this. We're gonna distribute a 9 to that. Okay? So I know, I know it's gonna be hard for you to see on this page, just stay with me for right now. So we're gonna have 3 times 4x plus 5 equals 9 times x plus 1. Okay? I'm gonna go ahead and go to a white page, so just, you ready? I'm gonna write this on a white page, are we ready?
Yeah.
I'm going to orient. 3 times 4 plus 5 equals what?
9 times x plus 1.
Alright, let's see if I can. Sometimes technology is more problems than it's worth.
It's good when it works.
Yeah. Alright, so we'll have here 12x plus 15 is equal to 9x plus 9. so now you just decide, if you can read that, how you wanna start attacking. Do you wanna move the X's around first, or the not X's around first? Anybody have a preference?
Is that 15?
Yes.
I would
Do we
move
take out the by 3?
Yes, you could do that. Okay, and that's a good point, because I'll a lot of times tell y'all to do that, is you could reduce this whole thing by 3. I didn't even think of that here, and the reasoning, in this case, Christian, I don't know if that would just add another step or not. Because whenever I do that reducing thing like you just suggested, it's usually because I'm gonna have to go to the quadratic formula, or I'm gonna have to factor, something like that that would be harder to do. This, I'm not gonna have to do that. So, but you still could, yes. Okay, but if y'all just, Holly, Tyler, if y'all just want to start solving, what would you do?
move the 9 to the
Okay.
other side, the 9x,
Okay,
and the 15 to the other side.
so I'm just gonna go one step at a time, but that is right, Tyler. 12x minus 9x is 3x. That's gone, so equals 9. So then Tyler said move the 15 to the other side, so subtract 15. So we got 3x is equal to, what's 9 minus 15?
-6.
-6, so divide by 3, and you get -2. Alright, that's the easiest kind, so I was only gonna do one of those with you, but just because of the discombobulation with the smartboard, we'll do another one of those. If I can find another one right fast. Yeah.
Just one of those, y'all do it. We'll see what y'all get.
Think you can do that?
Yeah.
Alright, let's see. Let's do 7 over x minus, what the crap is wrong with this thing? 7 over x minus 2, let's see if it'll, almost like it.
It's not wanting to work.
7 over x minus 2, just trust me, equals 11 over 2x minus 10. 7 over x minus 2 equals 11 over 2x minus 10. So give that a whirl, see what you can come up with. It's just like the one we just did. While you're working, I'm gonna try to orient again, see if that'll get me anywhere.
Yeah, this seems to go a little bit lower.
It's like it's adding a little tail on everything. That seemed better that time. Yes.
What did they go about for a second?
turns into an alien when that happens.
Alright, so fraction equals fraction, we set up for our cross multiplying, so I'm gonna distribute a 7 down here. So I'm gonna have 7 times 2x minus 10, and then I'm gonna distribute my 11 down here, so 11 times x minus 2. So you should have had a line that said 14x minus 70 equals 11x minus 22. Everybody have that somewhere? Good. So now you get to decide what you want to do to start solving. Everybody got a preference? Okay, move the 11, so I would subtract 11x. Good job. So that gets me 3x minus 70 is equal to negative 22. Now you don't have a choice.
You gotta move the 70.
Add that 70. So I got 3x equals, what's negative 22 plus 70?
48.
48. Last step.
Combine by 3.
48 divided by 3 is
16.
16. Fabuloso. How'd you do? I got it, got it, got it.
So it's
I made a pretty good guess on actually I was like, man, I don't know this. What does 16 do?
silly poison in the war.
Alright, so now we're getting to some more complicated ones. That says 5 over x plus 7 over 4 equals negative 9 over x, and we're trying to solve.
We can carry over the 7 4 to the other side and then the 9 2.
Well, but
Do you know how to do this?
you could do that, actually. You could do that, because that would make the left side have a common denominator that you could. That's interesting that you thought that up, because that's not how I would have done it.
Wait.
That's pretty cool.
Bring over the 5 over x,
Oh yeah. You can
Yeah,
do it that way
just-
too.
Yeah, just to get,
a common
Common
denominator.
well, it would get, you'd be able to simplify one side. And so then you could do set up the proportion. Y'all, now what's gonna happen is it's not, that could have been a 2x or something, so that might not always work. But since it works now, let's look at what Christian did, and then I'll show you how I would do it in case it doesn't work. Okay, so he's gonna move this negative 9 over x over, so it'll be positive, so he's gonna have 5 over x plus 9 over x, and then he's getting rid of that, so he's saying minus 7 over 4. And now since this has got a common denominator of x, on the left side, you would keep that denominator and just add your numerators. And so now it's much simpler than the first couple of problems that we did, but you got a fraction equal to a fraction. So you're just gonna cross multiply. So 14 times 4 is 56, is that right? Get smart back there, he's typing it on his watch.
56.
56.
It's easier to get out.
And then that would be negative 7 times x. So divide by negative 7. And that's correct, negative 8 is the right answer. That's probably a lot easier than the way I'm fixing to do it next, so good job on that, Christian. But like, the reason that worked is because you had this. So if that had been a 2x or a 3x, you wouldn't be able to do that.
You know, when Christian pays attention, he's actually kind of smart.
I know. Look at that. Alright, good job. Let me just erase so I don't have to write the problem again. Okay, the other way that you would have to do if you didn't have something that's common like that is go ahead for the whole entire problem, all 3 pieces, and find the common denominator. So we've got an x, a 4, and an x. So what would our common denominator be? 4x. And so what we would do is set this up to multiply the whole thing by the common denominator. Okay, so this is going to be cool what happens here, so pay attention on this. We're going to take the 4x and distribute it to the first term, so and what's going to happen is that x will cancel out with that x, right? So you just got 4 times 5 on that first piece. Okay, now we're gonna go to the second one, bring down that plus sign, so we're gonna bomb it. So what will happen there, the 4 and the 4 will cancel out, so you just have 7 times x. You with me? Bring down my equals, bring down my negatives, we just got a little short bomb to drop here. So there, the x and the x would cancel out, so you just got 9 times 4, and it's negative. Okay, so now we got a 2-step equation to solve. What would we do?
Move the 20 over.
Alright. So 7x is equal to negative 56. We just had that line on the way Christian did it a minute ago. Now divide by 7. Same answer. Not too shabby.
I think Christian's way took a little bit more steps.
Yeah.
But I think it made more common sense though.
But it did make more common sense, yeah, it's a good eye.
Alright, I just got a couple more. These will have a few more steps in them. Let's do 1 minus 8 over x minus 5 is equal to 3 over x. Okay, so we can't just do any cross multiplying because we got that 1 minus out in front, so that takes that option out. So what I'm looking for is what my common denominator can be, because if I can find the common denominator, I can bomb those places and cancel stuff out. So right now we have a denominator. This piece has a denominator of 1, right? This piece has an x minus 5, so my common denominator's got to have an x minus 5 in it. This piece has got an x, so my common denominator's got to have an x in it. So my common denominator that I'm going to multiply all that by has to have an x and an x minus 5. And it's got an understood 1 there. Now I could distribute that like he's saying, but I don't want to, because if I keep it written like this, I can see which parts are going to cancel out easier. Okay? So now it's time we're going to start distributing that and bombing stuff. So I'm going to take both of these all the way to the 1. It's just got a 1 on bottom, so nothing's going to cancel out, right? So I'm going to have 1 times those. So it's going to be x times x minus 5. Bring down my minus sign. Okay, now we're going to take this to the second piece with the 8. So, okay, x minus 5 and x minus 5 will cancel out. So 8 times x, right? Okay, equals, now I'm going to just come here to where the 3 is. So the x and the x will cancel out. 3x minus 5. And now I'm going to have to do that distributing that Christian has already done. So x squared minus 5x minus 8x equals 3x minus 15. Now over here, I can combine those like terms. So it's x squared minus 13x equals 3x minus 15. All right. What type of equation have we created here that we haven't done yet today?
Quadratic.
Quadratic. Yep. So we solve quadratics. Most common 2 ways are factoring or quadratic formula. Both of those have to be set equal to 0. So I'm going to subtract 3x from itself and from its buddy. I got to move the 15 over too, so I'm going to add 15, and it doesn't have a buddy, so it's just going to get stuck on the end. So you're looking at x squared minus 16x plus 15 is equal to 0. So you could go to the quadratic formula there with an a of 1, a b of negative 16, a c of 15, or you could factor. This one will factor. What multiplies to make 15 but adds to make negative 16?
15.
And they gotta be negatives, right?
Negative 15, negative
15 and negative 1. Set both of those equal to 0 and solve. So if x minus 15 equals 0, you get 15. And if x minus 1 equals 0, you get 1. Now, anytime you're solving a quadratic, when we get to that level where it's a squared, it's possible that we could have extraneous solutions. Remember, in extraneous solutions, you do all that good work, you plug it back in, and they don't work. So let's go and check them out and see if 15 and 1 would work. 15 minus 5 is 10. So 1 minus 8/10 is 2 2/10. Is that right?
Sounds right. I'll plug it in just.
Wait, what?
Then it doesn't work if that's 15 minus 5 is 10.
It's 1/5.
Well-
1 minus
Yeah.
8 over 10
Okay.
is 1/5.
I thought they both worked, but that one doesn't work.
We do something else?
It should work.
How? Because this will be, oh, 3, I was thinking of 10 here, dumb bug, because I'm 10. Yes, y'all are right,
Yeah,
good.
it would
So
work.
15 minus 5 is 10, so 8/10, 1 minus 8/10 is 2/10, which is 1/5. 3 over 15 is 1/5, so 1/5 equals 1/5, so that's good. All right, 1 was our other one. 1 minus 5 is negative 4. 8 divided by negative 4 is negative 2. 1 minus negative 2 is 3. 3 divided by 1 is 3. So those both work. Whew, man, that was a brain fart city for me. All right, let's do one more and maybe see where one might not work. Hint, hint. Teacher is not very discreet, is she?
Oh no, we should probably be careful, this one might not work.
Okay. So we've started all of them off by, except for that first one where we could just cross multiply, by finding what the common denominator could be. So what do you think here could be a common denominator?
X. Or, no. Times. X cubed. 1.
It has to have an x, a 9, a 3.
Well, it's gotta have those binomials, it's gotta have that whole binomial. So it's gotta have an x minus 3. It's gotta have an x plus 3. Isn't this the same as x minus 3 times x plus 3? If we did factor that using difference of squares, that's the same as x plus 3 times x minus 3. Let me just make a side note.
So that is.
So that is the common denominator. So you could write it like that, like Christian said earlier, but I'm gonna put it as the factors so I can see what part I get to cancel out. I kinda got my side notes in the way, didn't I? Alright, so we ready to start distributing, start our bond process? So x minus 3 and x minus 3 cancel out. I still have an x plus 3 left. So I'm going to do 6 times x plus 3. Bring down my equals. Ready to bond the 8. Okay, x squared minus 9 is the same as this. So that whole thing's going to cancel out, isn't it? So just going to have the 8x squared left. That's good. Bring down my minus. X plus 3 and x plus 3 cancel out. So I have the 4x to multiply to the x minus 3. And I'm going to do this, you don't have to, but in case I forget to subtract all of that, so I'm going to put it in another big parentheses, just so I don't forget that I'm supposed to subtract that whole piece. Okay? so now we're ready to start cleaning up and see what we can get here. 6x plus 18 is equal to 8x squared minus 4x squared. Now I got minus a negative 12x, which would be a positive 12x, right? Okay, so you can combine that. So now again, we got another quadratic, so we need to set it equal to 0 for either the quadratic formula or factoring. I don't want to move my a over there because I don't like my a to be negative. So I'm going to subtract the 6x from itself and its buddy, and then subtract the 18 from itself, and it doesn't have a buddy, so it'll just be stuck on the end. So I got 4x squared plus 6x minus 18 is equal to 0. Now, Christian, this is a case where I have to go farther with this. I either have to factor or do the quadratic formula, so I probably would divide all this one by 2. Remember when you were saying earlier to reduce it all? So I'm going to go ahead and do that. That'll get me 2x squared plus 3x minus 9. Now, y'all know I like factoring the best, but this one isn't a real easy one to factor because the a's not 1. So in my case, when the a's not 1, that's when I do the quadratic formula. So I'm going to have an a of 2, a b of 3, and a c of negative 9 into my quadratic formula. So here we go. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. It's been a minute since we've sung that. Christian was like, what in the heck just happened?
No, I was singing it earlier.
Oh, good. Alright, so
I was thinking that's what
9
happened.
plus 72 is 81. I'm doing some mental math. I hope y'all are checking me. Oh, Lord. Polly's a oh no. And then the square root of 81 can be positive or negative 9. So go to negative 3 plus 9 and divide it by 4. And negative 3 minus 9 and divide it by 4. 6 divided by 4, so that's 3 halves. Negative 12 divided by 4 is negative 3. So we have to check those two.
Yep.
Alright. Let's do the 3 halves first. Oh Lord, 3 halves is gonna be fun. What is 3 halves minus 3? 3, negative 3 halves?
Yep.
6 over negative 3 halves. I'm just gonna grab a calculator to see if I can speed this up. Not that I don't trust you, because you don't keep me straight, but 3 halves. Why we get an ugly number to use on our first. Alright, so first off, 3 halves is 1.5, right? Okay, let's do that. 1.5 squared enter times 8 enter. So I got 18 on that part. Over, I gotta do the over part. 1.5 squared enter minus 9 enter negative 6.75 minus 4 times 1.5 enter 6 over 1.5 plus 3 enter 4.5. So here 6 divided by negative 1.5 is negative 4. 18 divided by negative 6.75, negative 2 2/3. 6 divided by 4.5, 1 1/3.
Attention students, if you have Coach Shannon's class, please go to the library today. If you have Coach Shannon, go to the library today. Thank you.
Alright, so the 3/2 checked out.
Negative 3 does too.
It doesn't, you already checked?
Oh, it does.
Oh, it does? You sure?
Isn't one of them supposed to know?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Alright, let's check the -3. -3 minus 3 in the first one is -6. 6 divided by -6 is -1. -3 squared is 9. 8 times 9 is 72. -3 squared is 9. 9 minus 9 is 0. Okay, well there's the problem right there. You can't divide anything by 0.
I forgot that this is not the same as that. I was starting, like, I was putting all of this into 2 steps down.
Oh, gotcha. Gotcha. So the -3 is no bueno, so we'll go mark that one out and only circle the 3/2.
That's not a circle.
That's right.
And that's it. Okay, so dilemma in all of this, depending on all the way back to the Friday's work, the adding and subtracting, is finding the common denominator. Once you find that good common denominator, then you start distributing it, you can see those whole pieces cancel out, and it's not really all that bad. Okay, so for tomorrow, I'm still mulling around. Tomorrow's a review day. I'm going to give you some review work, but I'm still mulling around how I'm going to do that. I have an assignment ready. I just haven't pushed the button yet. I don't know if we're going to do it that way or another way, but we'll do something to review tomorrow. Then Wednesday, virtual day, you'll get your study guide. Thursday, we'll go over it, and Friday, we'll take the tests. Sound like a plan, Stan?
Yeah.
All right.
What are we doing Monday?